I decided to take a final look at Aswan Quarry, the last video I put out on the giant fingerprints. Extremely far out information. There will be a good portion of the channel that won't agree with what I said. The rest will agree with what I'm going to put out here. I'm not going to change my mind on what I put out in that video, but I will point out a few more things here, a few areas, a few different ideas for you. I suppose one of the main things that I'm going to point out here is the site itself has been covered in like a slurry. If you can imagine powdered lime becoming wet and it then drying out over a surface, over something that was there already, that's what we seem to be looking at here. And also how the lines, not just the natural floor lines in the stone itself, but there's lines that line up with almost beams. If you can imagine, the square hole there had a vertical beam. The thing I've just pointed out seems to connect, like this was something else and it's been covered over almost. You cannot come to a site, an outcrop of rock, and expect to carve out something so large without having a number of natural flaws in the stone, right? It's just impossible. You can never do that, and you will see that through this video. There's just natural flaw lines running through all this site, so you could never hope to machine carve, whatever you like, a 1,000-ton piece of stone and have it stand up. Like I was saying, it almost looks like it's been squeezed into shape. Well, not almost, it does. And also, I've just shown when clay, lime, dries out in the sun and you get like pot marks in it, that's what is throughout this entire scene here. Now, archaeologists, the holes here, they say that they were hung upside down by their feet and they took the diorite balls and bashed away at this stuff. But apart from it being impossible, when you actually look at this thing, it is so shiny to this day, because this site, the final image in this video, it's an old one and it shows how it was completely covered over in sand. So obviously, because it's in a ditch, a hole, the sand itself won't have been moving around, grinding it down, right? It was just stable. So when they uncovered it, it was still shiny. But I'm showing how something's being removed and then some more material is being dumped on top, to carry on making these obelisks, blocks, whatever it is. I suppose you could call it a quarry, yeah, where they were making artifacts, where they were making blocks for certain areas, but not in the sense that we told, like they were machining stuff away from a outcrop of rock. And also you see these holes. Now these holes are also very, very smooth and shiny. It's almost like this was like a site. Something was here before and it's all eroded or rusted away, but it was covered over in some events there. Another thing, I'm showing an area here that for some reason archaeology has covered the entire area up. This is this zone where I showed you that it looked like tire tracks, or there's some kind of tire tracks I'll show you on the ground, and they've covered it over. The top image shows you what it used to look like, and all this material has not just fallen down naturally. It literally has been put there to cover evidence up. Now, because I can tell you, let's just say that I was a police investigator and I saw something like this on the ground, you would walk away thinking that this were tire tracks, some kind of tire tracks in the clay and the soil. It's exactly what it is, people. Now, whether it's like being made from tracks or a tire, I don't know, but that's what you would conclude if you was an investigator. So obviously this stuff was soft and it became hard at some time. This is the Serapeum. I showed you how the site is unnatural. It's not been carved from rock. It's framework. Right, so we're back to the Aswan Quarry here. What I've just shown you in the Serapeum, that showed you that the tunnelling was made by framework, and then concrete. The exact same thing is here. I'll show you again in slow motion. Right, so the site itself is completely unnatural. What you're looking at there should not exist. It should not be there. These blocks are all exactly the same size. the bar, the framework has completely rusted, eroded away. But that's exactly what we're looking at. This is the first time I've ever noticed this area before. I know there's a lot of areas that are very confusing, but not really when people have been removing pieces from this site in recent history and way back. Some of it could just also be some type of frame. And if you look at the side of what we're looking at here, I know it looks like where someone's been hitting some type of bar in there, to expand it with a block of wood, but it also could also be petrified framing of some kind. And I'll tell you why. Just what I'm pointing at, the front of it is about an inch and a half thick, and the rest of it is just completely corroded away. Just look how soft the inner, what these blocks were originally made of. I don't know what I'm looking at here on the floor, right? But we're certainly not looking at blocks which have been carved out of the ground and then moved up the slope. I can tell you that much. I could come up with many reasons as to why that's there. And lastly, thank you to everybody who supports the channel, whether it be through the PayPal link or a super thanks.